between government, his family, and other stakeholders to ensure a smooth repatriation. African ambassadors to the African Union, AU, have honored former President Edgar Lungu, highlighting the importance of unity among Zambians as they reflect on his leadership and legacy. The Southern Province Council of Chiefs has expressed strong support for the Constitutional Amendment Bill, praising the Ministry of Justice for fostering an inclusive reform process. In sports, Chipolopolo's B second-choice goalkeeper Charles Kalumba has emphasized the importance of finishing strong despite the team's elimination from the 2025 Hollywood Bet COSAFA Cup. We have the news in detail shortly.
The news, 88.5 Sun FM.
And now the news in detail. Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, has confirmed that the repatriation of the late former President Edgar Lungu has been delayed due to ongoing constructive consultations between government, his family, and other stakeholders to ensure a smooth repatriation. In a statement, Mr. Kangwa stated that the remains of the late 60th President of Zambia will not be repatriated to the country today, as earlier stated. He said in this regard, therefore, the public will be advised in due course when the body of the late former president will arrive from South Africa. Members of the public are further advised that full details of the of the state funeral program will be released as soon as the consultations are concluded. Yesterday, during a memorial service held in South Africa, Lungu family spokesperson Makebi Zulu disclosed that a new date for the return of the former president's remains will be communicated in due course.
The burial plans for former President Edgar Lungu remain uncertain after his family has announced that the repatriation of his remains to Zambia, initially set for Wednesday, June 11, 2025, will no longer take place as planned. Speaking at a memorial service in South Africa, family spokesperson Makebi Zulu disclosed that a new date for the return of former president's remains will be communicated in due course.
On behalf of the family, we regret to announce that we will not be leaving tomorrow. We will be around. Alternative arrangements will be made, and that will be communicated to all you.
Government, through Secretary to Cabinet Patrick Kangwa, announced on Saturday that the remains of the former president were expected to arrive in Zambia on Wednesday, 11th June 2025, accompanied by a state declaration of 7 days of national mourning and a state funeral in honor of the late president's contribution to Zambia. The national mourning period, running from Sunday, June 8th to Saturday, June 14th, indicated that the burial was expected to take place on Saturday, June 14th, 2025.
In the country on Wednesday, 11th June 2025.
Meanwhile, Acting Patriotic Front PF President Given Luwinda has emotionally appealed for national unity and dignity as Zambia mourns the death of former President Edgar Lungu.
Let his wish be respected. And who else knows his wish except his dear wife? Why struggle? What is the struggle for? Let go of your anger.
And President Lungu was quiet all the time. After all the criticism.
Adding an international perspective, former South African High Commissioner to Zambia, Ambassador George Twala, reflected on his last meeting with the former president.
Loved it. And this is what he confessed. His confession, I remember the quote. He said, I wish I'd embraced those voices more whilst I was.
Thomas Mwale, reporting for Sun FM TV News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, African ambassadors to the African Union, AU, have honored the former President Edgar Lungu, highlighting the importance of unity among Zambians as they reflect on his leadership and legacy. Ambassadors accredited to the AU visited the embassy of Zambia in Addis Ababa to sign the book of condolences in honor of the late former President Edgar Lungu. The Namibian ambassador to Ethiopia, Mbapewa Muvangua, remarked that former President Lungu's passing was a profound loss not only for Zambia but also for the entire African continent. He reaffirmed Namibia's solidarity with the people of Zambia during this period of national mourning. Ambassador Muvangua also reflected on Zambia's steadfast support during Namibia's liberation struggle, an act of friendship and solidarity that remains deeply cherished by the Namibian people. And the ambassador of Mozambique to Ethiopia, His Excellency Anna Nemba, praised President Lungu's legacy, noting his vital contributions to regional peace and development and his dedication to strengthening Zambia's leadership role within the Southern Africa Development Community SADC. She emphasized that this moment calls for unity among Zambians as they honor his life and leadership. While they charged the affairs of the Embassy of Malawi in Ethiopia, Diana Jerry also extended heartfelt sympathies to Zambia during this difficult time. This is in a statement issued by Inutu Mwanza, First Secretary Press and Tourism, Zambia Embassy, Ethiopia. The Southern Province Council of Chiefs has expressed strong support for the Constitutional Amendment Bill, praising the Ministry of Justice for fostering an inclusive reform process. In a statement delivered by the Council's Secretary, His Royal Highness Chief Hamaundu, traditional leaders described the proposed amendments as progressive and forward-looking. Chief Hamaundu emphasized that traditional leaders fully support the delimitation of constituencies and electoral reforms, which he believes will enhance administrative efficiency and strengthen governance. However, the chiefs urged the government to carefully review Part 12 of the Constitution, particularly Section 165, which affects the institution of chieftaincy. They noted that challenges in this section must be addressed to improve the recognition and role of traditional leadership.
Following robust discussions, consensus was built on most of the key proposed amendments. The Southern Province Council of Chiefs acknowledges that, overall, the proposed changes are progressive, timely, and in the national interest. Further appeal that, at an appropriate stage, constitutional reforms also consider revisiting provisions in Part 12, particularly Section 165, which relate to the institution of chieftains. These provisions have posed interpretive and practical challenges that affect the chieftains.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Local Government Permanent Secretary Nicholas Piri underscored the importance of delimitation, stating that it will help reduce costs and improve service delivery. However, he also voiced concerns about disputes among traditional leaders and advised that such matters be resolved outside the courts to preserve unity and dignity within the chieftaincy system.
Some of our officers moving the same constituency, they have to go and spend 2 nights in order to monitor projects, to do appraisal of projects, because of the distances involved. They cannot make a one-leg trip, go come to access certain areas. Some of our people, our citizens, even to find where the WDC, the Ward Development Committee office is extremely difficult. So the delimitation exercise is meant to reduce the transaction costs. I wish to reiterate the call by His Excellency the President for their Royal Highnesses to exercise maximum restraint to ensure that we do not escalate these conflicts. Further, I also wish to call upon their Royal Highnesses to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms other than the court.
To support chiefs in their duties, Mr. Piri handed over 29 motorcycles to traditional leaders in the province, aimed at enhancing their mobility and service delivery.
We also request that you can use these motorbikes to monitor government projects and programs. The cash for work, the CDA, also to mobilize communities for legislation of citizens with NRCs. Because with programs like Cash for Work and many other government programs that are coming up, it is difficult for the people to access these programs if they do not have the national registration card. And therefore, I wish to encourage that you use these motorbikes to run the affairs of the chieftain, but also to monitor government programs.
We take a break and return with sports.
It's time for the biggest club football showdown this June on Top Star for just 210 kwacha on Antenna Classic OD Smart. Kick off the FIFA Club World Cup on Sunday, 15th June with European giants Bayern Munich facing Auckland City at 18 hours and Paris Saint-Germain versus Atletico Madrid at 21 hours. Conclude match day 1 on Wednesday, 18th June when Manchester City battles Wydad Casablanca at 18 hours and Real Madrid versus Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal at 21 hours. Later, catch match day 2 action as Messi leads Inter Miami against FC Porto on Thursday, 19th June at 21 hours. And African giants Sundowns versus Dortmund on Saturday, 21st June at 18 hours. Quickly, get your Top Star decoder now and catch every goal from the group stage to the final. All live on World Football. Top Star. Enjoy digital life.
And in sports, the second-choice goalkeeper Charles Kalumba has emphasized the importance of finishing strong despite the team's elimination from the 2025 Hollywood Bets COSAFA Cup. Speaking in an interview, he believes the team has learned valuable lessons from the elimination and hopes that the COSAFA Cup will set the tone for the Africa Cup of Nations Championship CHAN.
Going to the last game, we have to do our best so that we at least finish strong, which is going to set a tone for us in the coming games. Okay. A lot of lessons has been learned from us as a team, especially when we go to tournaments. I think we have learned a lot of lessons, and I believe we have been talking, and the coaches have been talking to us, even us, the players have been talking. There are things we have to work on, which will help us in the coming competition, the coming tournament, which is ahead of us. Yeah.
Chipolopolo B was eliminated from the 2025 COSAFA Cup on Monday night at the preliminary stage for the second successive season. Zambia, who lost 1-0 to Group D leaders Comoros, was eliminated after Botswana failed to beat Comoros and managed only a goalless draw. Football permutations indicate that either Botswana or Comoros will progress to the next stage, depending on the results of today's matches. Meanwhile, Comoros is relying on Zambia, which cannot reach the 4-point threshold to defeat Botswana this afternoon and eliminate them from the 3-team race, thereby maintaining their top spot in Group D and advancing to the semi-finals. The dead rubber fixture for Zambia is scheduled to kick off at 15 hours Central African time. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the news, and we recap on the headlines. Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, has confirmed that the repatriation of the late former President Edgar Lungu has been delayed due to ongoing constructive consultations between government, his family, and other stakeholders to ensure a smooth repatriation. African ambassadors to African Union, AU, have honored former President Edgar Lungu, highlighting the importance of unity among Zambians as they reflect on his leadership and legacy. The Southern Province Council of Chiefs has expressed strong support for the Constitution Amendment Bill, praising the Ministry of Justice for fostering an inclusive reform process. And in sports, Chipolopolo's B second-choice goalkeeper Charles Kalumba has emphasized the importance of finishing strong despite the team's elimination from the 2025 Hollywood Bets COSAFA Cup. That's where we end. My name is Alan Mollett. Do have a great one and stay tuned.
The news, 88.5 Sun FM.